All right, Nick. What do we got to do? Is the question that I have. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to think of things that I could personally do to help this situation, and I've sat on this couch, and what I guess now is sitting in this chair, and I've really come up with nothing. I was trying to find some incense. What's the opposite of hate or love? The opposite of love is not hate, if I remember a professor correctly when I was in college. The opposite of love is indifference, I believe, is what he'd said. And I'm sliding closer and closer to sitting here and watching this with just pure indifference. I mean, how long can you possibly go? Here's the crazy thing about sports. I still have some hope. I still have some hope, man.
I just want to know why that little thing on the bottom bar looks like that. That is driving me insane. Oh, get up.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Big time.
Yeah.
You're going to need to pause that. That's just not hit well enough. That's the Brewers, though. That's the Brewers. You're watching the Brewers. All right.
I'm waiting for a pitch clock and then I'll pause it.
Yeah.
Or you know what? I paused it when he the pitcher puts his hands up in the air.
Okay. I got a replay of the catch and hands up in the air.
All right, we should be pretty close to party.
Now he's they're showing
Candy's digging in.
Churio again and Candy
12, 11,
10.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we're good. That's the thing with Candy sometimes I just don't understand. I mean, you're ready to hit or you're not ready to hit. That's a fastball, four-seam fastball right down the middle. And I know the first guy made it out on the first pitch, but who cares?
Well, there we go. Fix the bottom bar. I can have a good show now, Trace.
Good. Did you figure out what it was?
Yeah, for some reason I must have copied and pasted a link where I'm just supposed to type notes.
Understand.
The Control V versus Command V, it's a big adjustment here in the Kirby household.
Is that gonna do anything?
Nope.
Of course not.
Nope.
Gavin Lux had a great at bat.
I thought Steer had a pretty good at bat after him.
Steer had a pretty good at bat. He just he's not squaring balls up. That's all. I mean, it was a scrappy at bat. I'll give him credit. It was a scrappy at bat.
That's probably a better word than good at bat. Yeah.
It wasn't a bad at bat. I mean, it was definitely. I would consider it a good at bat. That's a fair word to use.
It's hard to have a good at bat when you can't hit the ball.
Yeah, he's just not squaring the ball up. The craziest at bat of the game, which I'm sure I'll bring up on the show, is just the Candelario at bat where he actually got a hit. But the craziest at bat is swinging 3-0 at a ball that's not even close to the zone. You haven't scored a run in 60 innings, and you got a chance to get on base, and you're swinging at 3-0 pitches out of the zone. He got a hit, to be fair to him, next pitch. Just find a way to get on base, Gavin. It's a good pitch. All right, Nick. We got to do another show. I don't have it in me to do it. I can't. I know you need some time. I'll give you some time.
What do I need time for at this point?
We got to do a show. We said we're going to do them after every single game, which may have been one of the worst decisions that we've ever decided to do in the history of our lives. It's times like tonight where I guess you're supposed to earn your money, per se. You got to find a way to have a conversation about a baseball team that pretty much, if you've watched the last 3 games, you've seen everything that there is to be seen about them. I would like to say, Nick, that there's something to kind of get excited about. There's something you can kind of see coming around the corner. There was just a bunch of bad luck, misfortune, whatever term you'd like to use. But they just have not created. They've not created enough opportunities. They've had chances, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in just a second. But the truth of the matter is they just have not had enough good at-bats in a baseball game that they were able to string together to even be remotely competitive. And the crazy thing is we're kind of right now, I'm just talking about scoring a run. Heaven forbid we scored like 5. I'm just talking about getting one across the plate. They had a couple chances, Nick, but, I guess where do we go? Where do you steer the conversation? Do you want to do the box score recap? Do you just want to say, hey, look it up yourself? If you've seen it the last 2 days, you've seen it again.
Yeah, I don't need to do a box score recap. Lodolo was great. Reds didn't score. I'll clean it up in the podcast tomorrow. Those people deserve a box score recap, I guess.
I can't. John, I'm sorry. DSC, the Deep South Commodities deep drive of the day. Once again, for the 3rd straight day, includes what essentially is basically a ball hit in the outfield. Jose Trevino, he did hit this ball hard, though. Can't take it away from him. 102 off the bat, 407 feet. That was 22 degrees off the bat. And at the end of the day, it was a double off the wall. And for those that are wondering, no, he didn't score. The win probability, believe it or not, at the time, though, was the Reds at 52%. And as we all know, 0%. Who do you blame? Who do you get mad at? At what point do you just throw your hands up in the air and you just say, this can't be real? I don't care if the Reds were the worst team in Major League Baseball. You don't do this. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible not to get lucky and accidentally score a run. And the thing that makes it devastating is that they've burned through now 3 straight unbelievable starts and also unbelievable bullpen outings. You can't do it any better, really. I mean, yeah, you could sit here and say that they could give up no runs, but outside of, I guess, the game having to end one way or another, somebody has to score a run. I'm honestly, Nick, at this point, not sure if we could even argue that if the starting pitching and the bullpen were to go 9 scoreless frames, that it would still be good enough. So, obviously I got mad yesterday, scream and yell and say that this is ridiculous. Someone's got to do something. Of course, there's times where you're just kind of trying to paint a picture of the way you feel and you want to be at least charismatic about it and you kind of want to make a little bit of fun out of the situation that's at hand. I at this point feel like I'm talking to my kids when I'm actually disappointed. There's times where I get mad and I tell them, you boast a little bit and you act like maybe you're a little more upset than you really are. But the way that I am right now is I actually feel like you just kind of look at your kids and you just say, you know what? I'm just disappointed. I thought you were better. And that's how I feel about this team right now is I'm just disappointed that this is what we have to sit through again. And I get that it's early. I also completely understand that this team can get hot, maybe win some games. But the truth of the matter is that there's an underlying problem here that we've seen for quite some time. And for whatever reason, they don't have anybody that can get them over the hump, per se, when things are going bad like this. And they weren't able to do it last year either, mind you. So, Nick, what is left to say? God's honest truth.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just, curious looking up 2022, the team that lost 100 games. They got shut out 9 times. Never got shut out more than twice in a month. This happened 3 times in a row. And after a game that they scored 14 runs, that's the just most insane part of this, was that they had a game where literally everything went right, and then 3 consecutive where everything went wrong offensively. I thought against the final 2 games against the Rangers, against Jack Leiter and against Nathan Eovaldi, there was just bad at-bats all night. The Reds didn't have any hard hit balls. They did have at least some better at-bats tonight, but again, it's brutal to watch at this point. This is why you bring in Terry Francona, though, is when you've lost, maybe not like this exact scenario was ever thought about, but when you've lost just demoralizing game after demoralizing game, his MO is, trying to strike that balance of accountability while also keeping his team loose. And he's got to find a way to do it. I mean, that's your hope, I guess, at this point, is that Terry Francona can do what he's done over his career and navigate this team through it. But I guess just the most frustrating thing for me is, outside of just, obviously the performances, there was a spot with Santiago Espinal up.
Yeah.
A couple runners on base.
He's got to be better, man.
Well, yes, but
Tito's got to be a little bit better is what I'm getting
Well,
at.
I don't even know if I necessarily fault him for letting Espinal hit in that spot over Jake Fraley. But the problem is, if Jake Fraley can't hit in that spot, why is he on this roster? That's the problem. If he can't hit in that spot against a right-handed pitcher, he should not be on this roster. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I know that you're saying like that. That has to be a spot in the game, especially based off the circumstances that we've been in, of not being able to get someone across. With all due respect to Santiago Espinal, like, he's a defensive replacement type of player on a good team. And I'm not trying to get too over the top here with this Reds baseball team and sit here and tell everybody that I think they're absolutely trash. I don't mean it to come off that way, but like just take a step back for those that might think to themselves that I'm overreacting, and just ask yourself, when you look at the roster and you ask yourself what these guys' roles should be on a good baseball team, it starts to really get dark, because Santiago Espinal is a guy that's playing the outfield out of position, mind you, when he's our best infielder, and he comes up late in a game against a right-handed pitcher, and I'm thinking to myself, like, you have to go to a left-handed hitter right here, and if nothing else, force the hand of the Brewers in a spot like that. Now, I off the top of my head, I can't remember if that was the third or fourth hitter in the inning, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it's exactly what you just said, and it's what I said the other day. If you don't have anybody that you can go to the bench for and just find a spark, like, I'm talking about just getting lucky. You can say whatever you want about Rhys Hines, right? And I think you've mentioned it, Nick. Like, you've been a guy that said, hey, like, let's pump the brake on Rhys Hines a little bit here. He's got a lot of chase. He's got a lot of swing and miss. He's had some struggles at AAA. I know he came up here for 1 week and tore the baseball, cover off the baseball. So let's just not act like he should be guaranteed to be in the outfield no matter what last year. And I agreed with you. I understand that. But the opposite side of that argument, for me at least at this point, is that when you don't have anything that's really all that great anyways, I'd rather have a guy that's a lottery ticket on the bench that you bring off the bench, and he might run into a baseball and hit it 480 feet. And Jake Fraley, I've said it, I said it, like 5 home runs in what is 163 games now. It's
Oh, I was only counting the games he played in. There was games where he didn't play at all. That was only the games he actually played in.
Yeah, right. I was doing games longer. Correct. I'm doing games played. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to count the games he played in, it's really long. But that's beside the point. I don't want to get too far off track here. It's just that there's really nothing you can say or do outside of the fact that these guys got to play better. And I know some people are going to get upset. And if this was David Bell, mind you, I just want to let it be known. If this was David Bell, we all know what would be going on right now. I mean, it would be fire David Bell. There'd be people rioting the streets of Cincinnati right now. And I'm not trying to sit here and say it's Francona's fault. I'm just painting the picture of what would have been. And now we find ourselves in a spot where, you know, the one thing that you just said, Nick, that I think actually maybe can carry a little bit of weight in a show like this is that this is why you hire Terry Francona. If you're somebody that didn't like David Bell, right? You didn't like David Bell. You didn't like the way that he went about his business, and he'd mumble in the microphone and do the whole song and dance. And he was an absolute dry, boring interview. Trust me. I listened to him. They were terrible. But the one thing you got to give David Bell credit for, whether you like him or don't like him, I think if you're unbiased, you can say that he was prepared and he was very well aware of what the numbers presented him, and he put his team in the, at least if nothing else, in the statistical best chance to win category on a night in and night out basis. And now you find yourself in a spot where Tito Francona has not done that, and I'm not saying that he's completely wrong in doing so, by the way. But what I am going to say is if you're not going to put yourself analytically in the best spot to win on a night-in, night-out basis, a la not pinch hitting late in games recently, not going to a left-handed reliever when you had 2 left-handed pitchers up, and you also had Willy Adames with reverse splits in game 1 of the season on opening day, and you decide to go largely to what was Ian Jabot in the 9th inning, then you better be able to do something behind the scenes here to kind of get these guys out of a funk. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. Now, you could say, how do you go about doing that? I don't know how you do it exactly. But I would like for him to use some humor in the locker room. Whatever he's got to do to break this little funk these guys are in, something's going to have to get done by somebody. And the thing that stinks the most is that good teams are typically led by players. They're typically led by veteran leadership. And you can say whatever you want, but this team just doesn't have that. They don't have those guys in that locker room or the clubhouse. So we're going to have to rely on just pure talent at times, hopefully. Or we're going to have to rely on Teeter Francona. And again, you can say whatever you want. Oh, it's, 3 games, big deal. Well, I'm just going to warn everybody. The Reds are going to lose a game 9-7 at some point soon. Like, they're going to lose a game where the pitching staff doesn't perform. Why? Because, let's face it, the starters aren't this good. The relievers, the bullpen isn't this good. I mean, this is above and beyond what you can be. So they're going to regress to the mean at some point as well. You just can't lose these games. I mean, I know I'm literally just beating a dead horse, but I mean, it statistically speaking is impossible to make the postseason with a team like this and losing 3 games in the manner in which they lost them, Nick. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. So, any other takeaways from this game? I have a few other ones, but there's just not much there, Nick.
I guess, shout out Nick Lodolo, and threw the ball really well. He's not getting a ton of swing and misses right now, but he's been effective, and he has not walked a batter this season, which is probably the most impressive thing for a guy that's missed as much time as he has. And for him to come in, command the strike zone, throw strikes, that's been very impressive. So, yeah, I mean, shout out to Nick Lodolo, shout out to Hunter Green, shout out to Carson Spires, shout out to Nick Martinez. Who am I missing? Shout out to all of them.
Yeah, it also, Lodolo, I felt like he used his changeup a pretty good amount, and he used it in some critical moments. Kind of a pitch that really wasn't there until, obviously, I guess, this year. It's another thing to at least say that's a positive, whether you kind of want to talk about positive or not on a show like this. It is a positive. As far as the swing and miss stuff goes, again, I don't want to make too much of that this early in the year. He might go out and strike out 9, 10, 11 guys in a couple outings. The next thing you know, his numbers kind of look like back on par with the swing and miss stuff. I'd also openly say, like, he didn't really dodge a whole lot of damage. There was a couple spots where the Brewers kind of left some guys stranded, and they didn't hit too many balls hard. At least, again, I don't have StatCast in front of me, so if I'm talking out of the side of my mouth right now, stop me. But I mean, it's just nothing you can say. I mean, there really is nothing left to say. Final parting thoughts here on my end with the offense. Before we jump into 988, is they had a couple chances to break the seal as well. And I do think if you break the seal, there's a chance that it kind of like gets the monkey off everybody's back and the tension just kind of goes away and it can go back to playing baseball because these guys are aware of what's going on. They're not dumb. They know that they need to find a way to score a run. And the more and more every inning that bypasses, it's just more and more pressure on the next guy to try to find a way to get a hit. And Elly wasn't able to come through. But I just want to say, I know I said it pregame, I'll say it on the podcast. If there's anything that's more indicative of the way that this team goes about playing baseball or approaches the plate at times as a professional hitter, you'd like to think that Jeimer Candelario would be one of those guys. For as many young guys as we have, Jeimer and Candelario should be one of, if not the most veteran hitter that we have. And I don't want to make too much of this, but when it's 3-0, and you've not score in 27 innings, I think, 26 or so, 27 innings, I don't know what it is at this point, and you swing at a ball that's like not even remotely close to the zone for ball 4, I don't care if he got to hit the next pitch. I really don't. Like, it's more of like the moral of the story is, what's the approach? Like, what's the plan when you go up there? Is there one? I don't know. Some of these guys, it doesn't seem like they have much of a plan. I don't know. Let's do some super chats really quick, Nick, and then if you got anything left, God bless you. You can talk as long as you like. Zach Knopf said, I needed McLain. Zach, I'm going to let you know. It's spelled McLain. I'm just going to let you know, okay? I love you, Zach. Appreciate the super, but we got to get this right. The guy's too good at baseball not to get his last name right. McLain. To get a hit. Would anyone explain how that scored an error? 106 off the bat. I did watch it. I watched the slow-mo replay, Zach, and after I seen the slow-mo replay, I will openly admit I said he probably should have caught that ball. Now, I didn't see it like live in person. So, to be fair, 106 off the bat is incredibly hard. I don't know if it was 106 off the bat and the launch angle was down, Nick, to where it kind of like was just not as hard by the time it got to the third baseman, but I'll openly admit I thought it was going to be scored a double. They might change that. I have no idea. No idea. All in Christ says, these hitters are taking days off. Well, so am I. Yeah. I mean, I can't. It's hard for me to blame you guys, man. What do you want me to say? I really appreciate the support for our show. It means a lot to me and Nick. And I'll also say it means a lot because, listen, our livelihoods, let's face it, our livelihoods are surrounded around this baseball team. The more people that watch, the more opportunities we have to have sponsors, the more secure we are in being able to do this for a living. I mean, we have quotes out right now for people to try to jump on this show, and I'm thinking to myself after tonight, it's like, dude, what? I mean, who's gonna say yes to this? I hope that somebody will because we need some help. But my point is it's crazy that this is where we're at a week into the season.
I agree. You guys are incredible. If I was doing this show, I would have turned off the TV. I would have gone right to the bourbon and to bed. I mean, shout out to you for watching. Maybe you're sickos, but we do appreciate you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you more than anything. Ned Flanders says the Seattle Mariners of the NL Central. Yeah. I wish we played in the AL Central. I would do anything to switch divisions right now. Chase Wellman says, only thing you can say, pitching is really good. Laugh out loud. Yes, pretty much. Sean Krutka said, if I'm a Reds pitcher, I'm on strike for some offense. At this point, I'd make the position players pitch so they actually make themselves useful. Yeah, I don't know, man. I know that's got to be the most infuriating part for the hitters is having to let down those guys on the other side. I mean, that's just it's got to feel terrible. Leave it at the table. Said, as bad as Benson has been on the main roster, at least you know he's capable of running into one here and there. Any trades we could make? I hate to say this, and I'm usually the guy that says, hey, like, find a way. I mean, you're panicking at this point if you're making a trade just off the fact of the offense that you've seen. Nick, they had a chance to try to fix the problem in the offseason. And Austin Hayes maybe helps fix this, okay? Let's not forget about him. There's a chance that he helps fix this. But it kind of feels like we were working at the fire department and basically all of the employees of the fire department, the firefighters and firewomen, were asking for some equipment that they needed to fight a big fire. And the rest of the owners, I don't want to say ownership, the higher ups, if we'll call it that, I guess, just said, no, we're not going to do that. We'll be fine. We've got the stuff that we had the years before. We'll get it all cleaned up and it'll work. And we're in the middle of a big fire right now. The hay's already in the barn a little bit, you know? It's just in the barn. They got to find something out. Who are they going to trade right now to go get somebody that's worthwhile, that a team doesn't want? That's the problem when you get into the regular season. Everybody still thinks they have a chance to make the postseason. I mean, the Reds still think they have a chance to make the postseason. They haven't scored a run in 3 straight games, lost 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, and we're asking ourselves, how can we go make a trade to get better so we can make the postseason? Who else is it? No one's going to trade us unless we give up way too much. So we can't. That's the problem we find ourselves in. Chris Cook says, do the Reds need to use torpedo bats with spin smack? I don't know what spin smack is, but they need some help. Nikki, anything to add what I said? Sorry.
A trade right now, I mean, you'd either have to get lucky and find a team that has a need that's desperate too, and you could maybe trade a pitcher for a hitter or some sort of thing, or you're going to get absolutely fleeced, because why would a team trade a player and not wait till the trade deadline when everyone's looking? But I don't know. I mean, I see both sides of it here. Like, if the Reds had went out and signed one outfielder, is it a massive difference right now? Luis Roberts is a good player, but he's hitting 190 right now. He's 4 for 21 with 1 double. I mean, and you could say he's playing for the White Sox. He also has a $16 million option that he probably wants to get picked up. So he has quite a bit to play for. So it's, again, like, yes, it'd be great to have another player, but this core group has to be better or the Reds are going nowhere either way.
I'll openly say, though, that even if it was Luis Robert or if it was anyone else that they would have went out and got, Nick, it could have been the difference in 2 of these games. That's a 2-win. I mean, I know it's not fair to look at it like that, but I mean that's a 2-win. You know how good. I mean, you know this. To be a 2-win player a week into the season is impossible. But I'm saying, like, that's theoretically possible if you look at it outside of just the analytics and just straight on the games themselves. I guess I'm openly just saying that Spencer Steer, and I'm not trying to kill Spencer. I think he's hurt. I think he's gotten screwed. I think it's the either the front office or the management or the leadership or the coaching staff. I don't know who it is. I don't want to blame anybody particular because I don't know who it is, but he's getting hosed. He's not prepared. He's not been given enough time to be able to get game ready, and now he's getting thrown to the wolves. Our DH, Nick, quite literally couldn't. Like, I know that people are going to think you could be DHing for us, Nick, and it'd be the same. What?
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to have a 6-pitch at bat.
I don't give a damn. He got out. Didn't do nothing for us. You can go back and look at every game. Go back and look at the DH, Nick Kirby, And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you. I'm just saying that you could have been our DH this whole season, and we'd be in the exact same spot we're in now. Period. So, and by the way, you don't have to play in the field. I don't know if you know, Nick, but you don't even have to play in the field.
Don't have to lift your arm above your head, apparently.
No. Yeah, I'm not even sure if you have to see. My main point to all of this is just saying that they could have gone out and gotten somebody that might have made a difference, at least. And by even going out and getting somebody, Will Benson and Rhys Hines are doing okay, by the way. Is it not crazy? Nick, I don't even know what you're watching. Do you not?
Alan Boone just gave up a walk-off home run that had to be hit 500 feet. Sorry. I mean, this ball was murdered.
Just as soon as you thought you couldn't get any lower. Nick's chiming in after we've lost 3 straight games, 1-0, about Alan Boozna-Woosha Hoots giving up a 700-foot home run as a walk-off while all 10 people give a rat's tail. Anyway, 988, this is a pretty good time to do this. If you're ever in need, you need some help, maybe you know a friend that needs some help, family member, something like that, please text and or call 988. Also, maybe at some point the Reds will score a run. This can't even stay lit. I mean, I don't even know what do we got to do on a show like tonight to get things going the way you want them to go. I'm just, I might go and maybe we go get a Jabu. We find a way to get some incense, take them to American Family Field. I don't know.
I have one a Jobu bobblehead behind me somewhere up there.
You might need to use it. I don't know if you've seen what's going on with the big league club, but we've been having some problems.
I'll put it on the desk tomorrow. It is going to be on the desk with me watching the game, and if the Reds offense cooks tomorrow, he will have a permanent home here. There we go. I'm doing my part. I'm trying.
People are worried that I'm going to burn my house down. What do you think that the broadcasters are saying after a night like tonight? What do you think Tommy Thrall is saying? I mean, they've got to be just like, and they're like us, I guess. Just can't believe it. All right, chat. Very much, as always, appreciative of you supporting this show. Can you, Nick? You're very good at this. Can I just be honest with our listeners and also our loyal chat here on the YouTube side of things? So Nick obviously he lives out of town. He comes into town for the Dayton versus top prospects games up in Dayton, I should say. The Reds versus the top prospects up in Dayton. I kind of butchered that. And we're driving up there, thankful to get credentials. And I get in the car and I look at Nick and I said, Nick, I need you to give me something. I need some positivity. I don't know why, but I just can't get past. My outlook on this team and the season and the fact that we got 162 of these things to do, and I just don't see it. And Nick looked me square in the eyes and he said, "But the starting pitching, that's what's going to do it." And I'll be damned if we both weren't right. I don't know how in the world we're both right based off the conversations we had, but here we are. Do you have anything that you can give the 500-plus people, which is absolutely insanity? We have been beaten down. Like we are the alley cat that has not been fed for a week. You can see the ribs through the skin on our body. We have been dying for a winner, and we have been dealt nothing but losers. And yet we still have 500-plus people watching this show. I can't believe it. You guys all deserve an award. Nick, I need you to rise up right now and provide us with some semblance of the best positivity that Nick Kirby has ever offered to the listeners and viewers of Reds Nation.
All right, well, I don't have a whole lot of positivity for 7, 8, and 9 in the order, but I believe in Christian Encarnacion Strand. He's going to get cooking this year. I believe in Gavin Lux. He's had a lot of really good at-bats. I don't blame anyone who doesn't believe in Jeimer Candelario, but we saw him look like complete ass in April and then put the team on his back for a couple months. Maybe he can do it again. But the real reason why there's optimism is because William Buchanan Benson is coming, Trace. He hit another nuke tonight, his second home run for the AAA Louisville Bats. Benson is hitting .385 with a 1,138 OPS. You can't script it any better than Will Benson coming back and saving this Reds team. So that's what's going to happen. Let's go to Reds MILB. Alan Buznitz unfortunately ruined the night. Gave up a walk-off 643-foot bomb. Louisville falls 5-3 to Omaha, but Benson, as mentioned, 1 for 3, a homer and a walk. Noelvi Marte, he doubled twice. Marte's hitting .417. I'm not even sure I believe it, but shout out to Noelvi Marte. He's playing well. Re-signs 0 for 3. Avon Johnson, 2 for 4. The Louisville offense has been pretty good, which I guess is a good thing, Trace.
Can you put that up back up real fast? Is Noelvi Marte starting to find his groove? Is Noelvi Marte starting to hit baseballs hard again? Because, my God, there is life. If Noelvi can do it, we can do it.
Trace, Marte's 2 hits, two balls that he hit today, 100 and 108. One of his doubles, 108.3 off the bat.
Now, I know that this isn't what anyone wants to hear right now, and trust me, if I was on the other side of this screen, I'd probably want to punch myself in the face for saying it. But we could kind of use Noelvi Marte to be good if we want to try to make a difference in the National League Central and maybe perhaps even at some point in the National League. Now, I don't want to say the National League because I think that's disingenuous, especially when you talk about the fact that the Los Angeles Dodgers are in this same league. But maybe maybe, just maybe, at one point in our lives, CES, Matt McLain, Elly De La Cruz, and Noelve Marte will be united again in what we thought was going to be the next coming of a baseball team in this town we could be proud about. I don't know what 2025 has in store, but I do know this, folks. You guys are unbelievably kind to us. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. The truth of the matter is that you jump on a show like tonight and you're devastated. You know, people always tell me it's just a game and, you know, don't overreact and don't do this. But when I tell people, and I mean this genuinely, and maybe it says more about the fact that I'm a bad father than anything, I spend more time watching the Reds and doing this show in the summer than I do seeing my kids after about 5 o'clock every single day. It's not just a game. Like, it would mean a lot to a lot of people in this community, in this town, that have been Reds fans that didn't see the Big Red Machine. I've never seen that. I've never seen the 1919 or the 1990 wire to wire. I've not seen that. I've not seen the Reds advance in the postseason my entire life. All I want is to enjoy something in harmony with my kids before I die. That's all I want. And I honestly think that's what the vast majority of this fan base wants. It's really that simple. So the final parting thought I have to Zach Cozart is like, yeah, we do appreciate watching great players. But I don't care about great players, man. I don't care. If you guaranteed me that 9 Zach Cozarts would go to the postseason and win a playoff series, I would take 9 Zach Cozarts over 9 Joey Vottos if you told me that somehow the 9 Joey Vottos weren't going to go to the postseason. Now, I know that doesn't make sense, but hopefully you get my point. We just want to see someone win. That's as simply put as I can make it. So somehow every single year, this whole thing gets turned around on the fan base that gets frustrated because this team doesn't perform to the way in which we would like them to. We're just tired, man. We're just tired. I'm going to try to enjoy Elly De La Cruz as much as I possibly can. I see the writing on the wall, and so does the rest of the fan base. The truth of the matter is that when he's here, we would just like to capitalize on it. And at some point, we're going to have to do something different around here to get different results. And it just seems like we've always made a scapegoat out of things that were really never the problem. And maybe I'm wrong, but the biggest thing I feel on a night like tonight is that we've been sold a false lie, which is that it was all David Bell's fault this offseason. And somehow this all was going to get fixed. And now we find ourselves right back where we found ourselves in 2024. A hopeless, worthless, piss-poor offense that can't find a way to help out what is a great pitching staff. All right, we got pregame shows. Tomorrow it will be the final one of the week because we only do them on weekdays. Nick, let them know what they can do. Who, what, when, where, and why, I guess. That's a good place to start.
Well, we got TBD. Maybe TBD can be the straw that stirs the Reds offense. We'll wait and see. Tyler Alexander is what Fangraphs is projecting. I think the Brewers are going with the bullpen game. Tried to do a little bit of research on it, but I couldn't really find any hints to what we'll see. Nick Martinez coming off a start. Final line didn't look great. 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, but he was pretty dominant early in this game. Career against the Brewers, he has got a 3.73 ERA over 4 starts, 8 games overall. Last year pitched really well against the Brewers, 2.40 ERA in 15 innings, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts. And the active Brewers, Trace, 11 for 65, a 169 average against Nick Martinez. So hopefully he can keep it up, and hopefully TBD can be the answer.
You know, Nick, I'm going to end on a positive note. I had said yesterday that I think that the only thing that really could salvage how bad it's been is if the Reds found a way to win this series, because it feels like if they win this series, they'd be right back on track. Now, I know that's a far-fetched idea right now, win 3 in a row after what we've watched the last 3 games. But I would even go so far to say, if you split this series, it's enough time to hopefully find a way to get somebody up from AAA that might give us a spark. And, oh, by the way, Austin Hayes might make a difference. I don't know. Maybe. I just need something different. Just get me to a point, at least, hopefully sometime this April, to where we're not digging ourselves out of a crazy hole. Seems like that's the path we're on. But please, just get me to a spot where we're within a game or 2 of 500 at the end of April. That's all I ask. Still right there in the grasp is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Probably not what people want to hear. All right, folks. I'm probably going to have to go around here and make sure I can find all my stuff. You better make sure you didn't lose your pillow, and I got to make sure that I know where a basketball is because I hadn't looked for one in quite some while. But you know the drill. We'll be back here. Rain or shine. Great or terrible. Or perhaps what we feel right now, just a little indifferent. Love you. I really appreciate everybody watching this show. It means a lot to us. It really does. In fact, I would say this. Out of all the times that we've had people in the chat, and out of all of the times that we've had a good audience on this show, this is probably the most proud I've ever been of really what we've been able to build. And by we, I mean all of us. Last 2 supers before we go. Sean says, Trace, forget the playoffs. You got to smoke that cigar next time they score a run. I actually was thinking about burning them both. I was thinking about just burning them up. Don't even never need to see them again. Just depressing every time I look at it. Zach Knopp said the Reds need to call 988. Yeah. As always, text and/or call anytime. But I'm very proud of everyone. I just want to say that. I am very, very thankful for your support. And we'll be back here better than ever tomorrow. Till then, go Reds. We'll probably get through it. We've been through a lot in this town.